Scott Maley is the lead singer and founder of Supreme Queen, a dazzling tribute band honouring the legendary rock band Queen. With a career spanning over 20 years, Scott's dedication and love for Queen's music have led him to develop his craft and become one of the most respected tribute artists in the world. Known for his incredible vocal and visual resemblance to Freddie Mercury, Scott and his band have played to hundreds of thousands of Queen fans across the globe, delivering an authentic and memorable Queen live experience. And this Sunday, Scott and the band will be performing live at the Lyceum Theatre in Crewe. And Scott joins us now. How are you today?
Hello, Toby. Nice to speak to you.
So, what was it that first inspired you to form a tribute band to Queen?
That's a question. I'll give you the short version. That's probably the best. Basically, we in the early 90s, 94, 95, I joined a covers band, which was doing the playing the working man's circuit and pubs and different things like that.
Yeah.
And generally, we all each member picked a couple of songs that they would like to perform. I generally picked a couple of Queen songs, and it seemed very natural to sing those songs anyway. It seemed very once again normal and natural to do that. And generally, as time went on, we during the set, the two sets during the spot doing the show. We sort of made up like a 20-minute medley, Queen medley, of Queen songs, greatest hit songs. And that seemed to take a life on its own, really. We was doing that for a long, long time, so we still wasn't a Queen tribute band, but that just seemed to take over, and it was a little bit later on where, that sort of format at that time, we became a Queen tribute band. Still playing lots of working man clubs and things like that, but it's sort of you serve your apprenticeship really, and up and down the roads all around the country. That's the short version.
Yeah.
That's the short version.
And are you glad that you're now a tribute band to Queen, or do you kind of miss being able to have the freedom to do other songs as well?
No, not at all. Because I love a lot of artists as well. I'm fans of other artists anyway.
Yeah.
But this, as I said, this became my job. This was something that sort of took over my life, really. It hasn't been easy. Like in everybody's life, there's ups and downs and swings and roundabouts, as I say.
Yeah.
But yes, we was on the club circuit for many, many years. And, now and again, we would get like a couple of what we call sort of, prestige shows.
Yeah.
So we took some time just to keep on going at it. And, like all bands, as in, fall out and different things like that. But I'm still doing what I'm doing. And obviously I enjoy it a lot more anyway now, because we're playing some wonderful venues. We've met some lovely people in the past related to Queen. And the main thing is, we all the members are all fans of Queen, which you have to be.
Yeah.
So it's very important, and it is. I know it is to be blasé about it, but it is truly a phenomenon, I should say, happening. To be so the freedom's there anyway. To be honest with you, because it's what I wanted to do, and obviously it took a life on its own, as I keep on saying, but it really did. So I've got the freedom of all the band. We've got the freedom of playing, performing Queen songs, which. You couldn't really get better than that, really.
How do you approach embodying Freddie Mercury's stage presence and capturing the magic that made him such an iconic performer? Because he could just hold a whole audience in his hand, couldn't he?
Obviously. Well, through the years, I know a lot of artists say this, and it is there's no better sort of practicing than performing at shows. You get better, and for the many shows we've done over the years, and to keep doing it, you almost like, as I go back to the start, it was quite natural anyway. It seemed natural to be that way. And obviously when I first started, I sort of soaked everything in, because I tend to do that. So obviously I wanted to be the best that I could do on this. And so I sort of, sort of engrossed in watching things and things like that. But even then, I think it generally went in, subconsciously or anything like that. But it just sort of went in, and obviously you pick up little things.
Yeah.
And it's a way of. I also feel like it's a way of putting over, as Freddie would, it's the way of he would want to put over his song or his lyrics. So, like Freddie used to say himself, a lot of people could just stand there and sing the songs, but he actually wanted to be animated. And if that's your natural showmanship or frontmanship, it takes over. And I think it's going back to Queen. That's exactly what all four members of the band. They had that chemistry, and they all was connected in a way. But yes, I mean, and obviously, you're in a situation, you embody it because it's naturally there anyway, and it's sort of, and because of the Queen spectrum, you could say, and the audience is that are big fans of Queen and things like that. That takes you with it. That flows back and forth with the audience. So someone like Freddie, who and obviously all the band as well, who wrote the songs and played the songs, it must have been absolutely wonderful. It's. And we're all sort of in our way have our own little, perfectionist. Something's not working right, we tend to change it, or let's try this way. But that generally comes down to the songs, really.
And who would you say the audience is? Because Queen is one of those bands where it appeals to multiple generations. So, do you get quite a good mixture of people in the crowd?
We do. I mean, I've always seen this everywhere I go, and it's heartfelt, really. I mean, we've done this for a long time now, but especially in the theatres that we perform in now, which, it took us I'll be honest, it took us a long time to get into the theatres that we wanted to play. So generally we was playing lots of festivals, lots of clubs, overseas as well. But with the actual theatre audience, with the theatre itself, you can put your production there. But to answer your question, yes, it is. It's amazing. I mean, we get young ones. The parents bring the young ones. We get middle-aged people. We get all types of genders. Everything. It doesn't matter. They're all there to hear the Queen music. And you have to remember sometimes, which it's quite normal to us now, but you get a lot of, as I would say, senior citizens. But you have to remember sometimes that, probably when Queen were in their prime in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, those people in the audience would be young, or they would be. That's the thing, and it really is. It's a wonderful thing to. It's still, even doing it for this many years now, it's still a wonderful thing to see, and it makes you feel quite. Well, first of all, it's heartfelt anyway, but it makes you feel quite loyal and you can see the dedication of the audience and what they feel. You don't have to be a big, say, diehard fan, as they say, to come and see the show. If you know Queen music, we, as I always say this, we are Queen were a rock band. So, the way we perform the show, it's all live. It's exactly in the same format as Queen perform their live concerts. So there's always room a little bit there for improvisation. And it is a rock show. It's not like, as I always say, tiptoe through the tulips. It is a rock show, but it's how Queen was. If you went to go and see Queen, it would be all right into your sort of your awareness, your presence, really.
How do you think the band has evolved over the last 20 years?
The main thing has always been in all bands. I mean, you can study all the classic rock. It's keeping the band together. Obviously, over the years, we've had, different personnel coming in because sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes, there's different things that happen in life. But generally, from that point of view, we spent, or for myself personally, but I speak to the other bands as well, have been other bands before. But the Queen thing sort of brought us together at a certain time when I feel it was the right time. So I would say it's like you said, you're playing a lot of working men clubs, you're playing a lot of venues. It's all learning. So you all learn, but there's a time when you think, well, it's becoming a better show. More people are coming to see the show. you're the same. Each individual is the same person, still performing as they did many years ago.
Yeah.
But you're sort of playing now to a point where the places that you want to play, where you can deliver your performance to the people who are there, paying their hard-earned cash money for the tickets. So they want to be entertained. They want to see that Queen authenticity. You can't kid an audience. I mean, the audience know whether it's the show's going well. So from sort of but once again, it does take a life on its own. Whatever show you're playing or whatever venue you're playing, festival, etc., you have to have the greatest hits in there. You have to have the greatest hit songs, and then you can sort of sprinkle sort of album tracks in there, which Queen did anyway.
Yeah.
So it is important. So it's evolved to a place where, and we're all involved. We're still doing that anyway. We've always got ideas to produce the best show we can, really, and and people seem to be turning up. So that's the main thing.
Is every show the same, or do you maybe change the set list about depending on where you are and how you're feeling?
Yeah. Well, generally, we tend to, obviously, because in theatres we do 2 spots, so we sort of, first of all, we sort of approach the show from the Queen, how can I put it, from the Queen backlog of sort of the 70s and 80s. So, once again, you've got to have those greatest hit songs in. So they take up a lot of, you ask anybody in the street sort of to name 4 or 5 Queen songs, they'll instantly do it. They should be able to instantly do it. So you've got to get them greatest hits in anyway. But then, yes, we do. We've added a few new songs. We're now working on some more songs to change the introduction to the shows, different things, and not only keeps the audience, fresh. It keeps us fresh as well. And we tend to structure the show as Queen would do it. So. They seem to be the masters at doing that, if you know what I mean. They always had an idea of what's going to work to give the audience a sort of a flow of sort of hard rock songs, ballads, jazz type of songs, or a bit more melodic songs, if that's the way you can put it. But you'll always have your Bohemian Rhapsody, you'll always have your Rock You and Champions, Radio Gaga. You'll always have them in a set, so you have to combine the other songs around that.
Have there been any particular highlights that have stood out to you in your whole career as being Freddie Mercury?
And now I'm going to say no. Toby, they're really all highlights, really.
Yeah.
Even when you're playing, we've been very lucky to play most European countries. We've done lots of festivals. We've done some, what you would say, prestige shows on famous. Well, when I say famous, it's great to do these things. But once again, you're there to do your job. The performing part, that's always there. So, like most bands and like some of the other tribute bands, not just Queen, other tribute bands like Beatles, Beyond Again. Different bands who've been going, perhaps a little bit longer than us or around the same time. There's always the highlights. There's always. I think it's also to do with the setting where the show is as well. We're looking with some of the like the Crew Theatre and lots of theatres. Once again, you can put a production in there. We try to be authentic. From a personal point of view, through the years, I was privileged to have a couple of sort of Freddie's, I won't say personal assistants, best friends come to the show and meet them backstage and things like this. And to me, that was like the icing on the cake. It was almost, or you would get someone in the audience who worked for Queen many years ago, and they've all got a story to tell you how they met Queen, or even people who'd come, not so much, but even many years ago, somebody would come in and he would just like to mention that he did some of the lights at Live Aid, or he was doing the monitors of the Queen's Magic Tour, which is fantastic, really. that's an extra bonus for for doing what you're doing. So then we're highlights. But I mean, generally the main thing is the shows and the performance. But obviously, you've got the element of the people in an audience, which is going back to your earlier answer. You've got the element of people who know Queen, have listened to it many, many years, and then you've got the fans who sort of know everything and want to hear the songs which are probably less sort of known, if you know what I mean. So yes, I mean they're all points, if you know what I mean. That they're all places where we've been, where there's some wonderful places. We played countries, and it's part of everything, really.
And you mentioned that you met Freddie Mercury's friend, Peter Freestone. Yeah. Did he provide any insights or stories about him that influenced your performance?
Well, to be honest, I know I should say this. To be honest with you, I remember, because it was this is going back quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
And we'd been playing some clubs, and I think I get mixed up now. It was either Torquay or I think it was Torquay. It was somewhere anyway, nice by the sea, and I think Peter Freestone had was it Torquay? At a small hotel, and I didn't know about this. And this is going back many, many years ago. Different band members at the time, and they must have set it up. They must have set it up and never said nothing to me. And it was quite a surprise when I met him. And I happened to go back to the change room to sort something out in the afternoon, and the door knocked. I thought, well, we'll wonder who that is, because usually the band just walk in, and I'll I'll get to it. But generally, the door opened, and instantly our eyes met. Well, obviously, I knew who it was, but it took me a few minutes to, oh my God, this is, and. At the time, not so much now, but at the time I came in, and my stage jackets were hanging up on the sort of, and he came in, and he sort of, first thing he did was look at them, and he said, sort of in a whisper, he said, Scott, he says, these are a lot better made than Freddie's.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right. And that was so not really, so that's the only thing really, but that was at that time. But generally, no, you could tell. It was wonderful to meet him. He came for the show, and then he came backstage for a few minutes, and then I think it was about 2 years after I sort of visited him at his hotel. It was I'm trying to talk. It might be somewhere else, and spent the weekend basically there, because he had a modest hotel, and really that was the icing on the cake really for me, because. And generally, I sort of sat, spent the weekend there, and other guests as well, and generally just sort of not asking him questions about Queen, about Freddie, about the tours, which is really what I wanted to know. Yeah. And he's a lovely, lovely man. You can, I think he was, you're just sitting in the guy's presence, and you sort of, this is probably the closest, apart from the band, that I'm going to get to meeting somebody else who is involved with Freddie, really. So, yeah, that was but he's that type of person, it'd be lovely to meet him again after all these years. But he does turn up at some different shows anyway, I think, at different places. But, you couldn't really get a much better situation than that.
Yes. Lastly, what is your favourite Queen song to listen to and your favourite Queen song to perform, and are they different?
You had a big smile then.
Yes.
Generally, because that's a really difficult question to answer, and I can't answer it, because generally we love performing every song. I haven't got a favourite one. They're all favourites in a way. The question, the answer I ask, the answer I give is usually when we're performing a song that we're rehearsing that's going to go into the show. That tends to become the favourite one. Yeah. For a certain time, because obviously we have to perform it, and then we have to see how it goes, the response of the audience. That's generally the answer to that. It's there's so many to pick. Really, you can't pick them. I mean, if I had to be really, really, once again, I couldn't pick a song, but I do like a lot of the ballad type songs. There's a lot of certain ballads that we do which really quietens the show down. But that goes with, even if, you know, I tend to now, if we're learning a song or I'm listening to Queen, it's because I'm learning the song to perform it, or I want to watch what's going on. There are certain songs that are very, what's the word, transcendent over to the audience, which seem to really, there's a one-to-one with the audience on certain songs, you know, and that's tracks like A Kind of Magic, Radio Gaga, We Will Rock You, We Are Champions. There's certain numbers in the set which seem to really, you know, make the audience stand up and, you know, sing and join in, really.
Yeah. Well, you're performing at the Lyceum Theatre in Crewe this Sunday, and then you're playing at the Swan Theatre in High Wycombe on the 30th of June. I take it there's stuff after that, because you've been going 20 years, so you'll go even longer, I imagine.
We'll be going longer, more than 20. I think now it's probably about 27, 20.
Wow.
I started in about 1995, I think, so I'm not going to do the maths on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm probably being ego and they'll call it a tour of life, but generally we're always working, so we've just come off, you know, I can't remember what we've just done recently in the last 2 weeks, so we've just got a few days now, and then we're back to Crewe, and then we're out. I think we've got a short break, but it's not always a break, because you're working on different things, and then you're sort of, you know, the creativity there is sort of there, so it just keeps, you know, it's what we've been doing, really. So it's wonderful to perform to different places that we haven't played before, and different audiences, but they're all there for that, you know, that common situation, really.
Now, the Crewe show is this Sunday, and I assume tickets are still available because you're doing promo for it right now. It would be a great Father's Day gift, wouldn't it?
It would be, absolutely.
Well, where are we able to get tickets?
Well, you can go on to our... I mean, obviously, people can go on to the Crewe Lyceum website. They can get them on there. They can go on to our website, which is www.supremequeen.co.uk. They can go onto there and get them there, but straight away it'll go straight over to the theatre anyway. But whatever people want to do, you know, that's fine.
Well, many thanks for joining us today, and have a good show on Sunday.
Okay, Toby, nice to speak to you.